Some of you are living good lives, but you're ruining them with bad reactions. You're not defeated by your circumstances, you're defeated by how you feel about them. You let one emotion cancel your vision. One bad day cancel your discipline. One insult cancel your destiny. And that's not because you're weak. It's because you've never been trained to rule your inner world. Let me tell you something real. Your emotions are not evil, but they are not wise. They don't think about your future. They don't care about your purpose. They only care about the moment. And if you let the moment control you, it will steal the years that were meant to build you. You were not created to react. You were created to lead. And the first thing you must learn to lead is yourself. Not your money, not your relationships, not your career. Yourself, your moods, your impulses, your emotional storms. Because a man or woman who cannot control their emotions will always be controlled by their environment, controlled by people, controlled by pressure, controlled by pain. But the moment you decide that your purpose is greater than your feelings, the moment you stop letting anger talk for you, fear walk for you, and pride fight for you, that's the moment your life begins to rise. This is not about becoming cold. This is about becoming commanding, calm under pressure, focused under fire, grounded in truth when everything around you is shaking. So today, I'm not here to motivate your emotions. I'm here to challenge your mind, to wake up the leader inside you that says, I don't live by how I feel. I live by who I was born to become. If you're ready to stop being ruled by your emotions and start ruling your future, then listen closely. Because your breakthrough doesn't begin with a feeling. It begins with a decision. Your emotions are powerful tools, but dangerous masters, because anything powerful that is not governed will eventually destroy what it was meant to serve. Fire can warm a home, but it can also burn it down. Water can give life, but it can also drown you. In the same way, emotions can fuel your passion, sharpen your awareness, and connect you to people. But when they sit on the throne of your decisions, they turn from servants into rulers. And rulers that think only in the moment will always sabotage the future. Emotions were never designed to lead your life. They were designed to inform it. They tell you what you feel, not what you should do. The problem is that many people confuse intensity with truth. Just because you feel something strongly does not mean it is wise, accurate, or aligned with your purpose. Anger feels powerful, but often speaks foolishly. Fear feels protective, but it often lies about what is possible. Excitement feels convincing, but it often ignores the cost. If you allow feelings to make your choices, your life becomes a series of reactions instead of a strategy. When emotions become masters, they shorten your vision. They zoom you into the now and blind you to the later. You say things you can't take back. You quit things you were meant to finish. You walk away from people and opportunities that were part of your growth. Not because they were wrong, but because you were overwhelmed in the moment. A mastered life is built on purpose. A life mastered by emotions is built on impulse. Power without discipline is always destructive. Think about it. The strongest car with no steering wheel is just a weapon on wheels. In the same way, a passionate person with no emotional control becomes unpredictable, unstable, and unsafe to themselves and others. But when power is governed, it becomes productive. When your emotions are trained instead of unleashed, they become fuel instead of fire. They push you forward instead of pulling you apart. This is why maturity is not about killing your emotions, but about assigning them their proper role. You don't silence them, you supervise them. You don't ignore them, you interpret them. You don't let them command, you let them advise. Your mind and your purpose must sit on the throne. Your emotions can sit in the room, but they don't get the final vote. A disciplined life is not a dry life. It is a directed life. It is a life where your feelings serve your future instead of stealing from it. When you understand that your emotions are tools and not masters, you stop asking, how do I feel? And start asking, who am I becoming? And that question changes everything because it shifts your focus from comfort to calling, from impulse to intention, from the moment to the mission, and from reaction to leadership within yourself, where your feelings work for you instead of against you, and your life begins to move with clarity, stability, An unstoppable direction maturity begins the moment you stop allowing your feelings to make your decisions and start allowing your purpose to lead your actions. A child reacts to what they feel, but an adult responds to what they know. That difference is everything. Feelings rise and fall like waves, but values and vision are meant to stand like anchors. If you let every emotional surge decide your direction, your life will move in circles instead of forward. Real growth starts when you realize that not every feeling deserves a microphone, and not every emotion deserves obedience. Your emotions are honest, but they are not intelligent. They report what is happening inside you, not what is best for you. Anger tells you something is wrong, but it doesn't tell you the right way to fix it. Fear tells you something is risky, but it doesn't tell you whether the risk is necessary. Sadness tells you something was lost, but it doesn't tell you how to rebuild. If you let emotions run the show, you will mistake information for instruction. Maturity is learning to listen without surrendering control. When you are emotionally driven, your life becomes inconsistent. You work when you feel like it. You speak kindly when you feel like it. You stay disciplined when you feel motivated. That kind of living produces temporary results at best. But when you are purpose-driven, you do what needs to be done even when your feelings disagree. You show up tired. You stay focused when you're bored. You stay calm when you're provoked. That is the mark of a mature mind. A mature person understands that feelings are visitors, not residents. They come, they speak, and they leave. You don't build your life around a guest. You build it around a foundation. And your foundation must be truth, character, and long-term vision. When your emotions knock on the door, you acknowledge them, but you don't hand them the keys. You decide what stays and what goes. This is why discipline is more powerful than motivation. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is intentional. Motivation waits for the mood. Discipline moves regardless of the mood. In every great life, every strong leader, every stable mind is built on decisions made in moments when feelings were loud, but purpose was louder. Maturity is not about feeling less. It's about being led by more. More clarity, more awareness, more responsibility. You stop asking, "What do I want right now?" and start asking, "What does my future require?" That shift changes how you speak, how you act, how you choose, and how you grow, because you stop letting temporary emotions write permanent stories and you start letting wisdom shape your destiny with consistency, strength, and self-respect. Discipline is choosing purpose over impulse, and that choice is what separates a drifting life from a directed one. Impulse asks, "What feels good right now?" But purpose asks, "What builds the life I was born to live?" One speaks in the language of comfort, the other speaks in the language of calling. Every day you are standing at a quiet crossroads, even in small moments, deciding which voice will guide you. The future is not shaped by your big dreams alone, but by your small, repeated decisions to honor purpose when impulse wants control. Impulse is loud, fast, and emotional. It pushes you to react before you reflect. It tells you to quit when things get uncomfortable, to lash out when you feel offended, to choose ease over effort and pleasure over progress. Purpose, on the other hand, is calm, steady, and patient. It doesn't rush you, it roots you. It reminds you of who you are becoming when the moment tries to distract you from it. Discipline is the bridge between those two voices. It is the muscle that allows you to follow purpose even when impulse is screaming. A disciplined person understands that freedom is not the absence of structure, but the presence of direction. Without discipline, your time gets stolen. Your energy gets wasted. Your potential gets postponed. You start many things and finish few. You mean well, but you move slowly because your impulses keep changing your priorities. But when discipline is active, your life gains momentum. You don't wait to feel ready. You train yourself to be ready. Discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect in action. It is saying no to what is easy so you can say yes to what is excellent. It is choosing growth over comfort, training over temptation, and consistency over convenience. Every time you deny an impulse for the sake of your purpose, you are strengthening your identity. You are teaching yourself that your future matters more than your feelings in the moment. This is how strong lives are built. not in emotional highs, but in committed habits, not in bursts of motivation, but in steady obedience to a vision. Purpose gives you the destination. Discipline gives you the daily steps. One without the other leaves you frustrated. But together, they make you unstoppable. When you live by impulse, you react to life. When you live by purpose, you lead your life. And leadership always begins with self-leadership. It begins with telling your emotions, you can speak, but you cannot steer. It begins with aligning your actions with your assignment, not your appetite. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. It is choosing the future over the moment, the mission over the mood, and the calling over the craving until your life starts to reflect not what you felt, but who you decided to become with clarity, strength, and unshakable direction that carries you forward into everything you were created to fulfill. You were born to lead your emotions, not be led by them, because leadership always starts on the inside before it ever shows up on the outside. If you cannot govern your inner world, the outer world will constantly govern you. People, pressure, praise, pain, and problems will all take turns sitting on the throne of your life. But when you learn to take authority over your thoughts and feelings, you stop being a victim of circumstance and start becoming the architect of your direction. To lead your emotions means you acknowledge them without surrendering to them. You don't deny what you feel, but you don't let it define what you do. You understand that feelings are signals, not commands. They tell you what is happening in your heart, not what should happen in your hands. When sadness comes, you listen, but you don't stop living. When anger rises, you pause, but you don't explode. When fear whispers, you assess, but you don't retreat. Leadership is not the absence of emotion. It is the mastery of it. Most people don't realize how much control they give away every day. One rude comment can steal your peace. One delay can steal your patience. One disappointment can steal your focus. And suddenly, your emotions are driving your behavior like a wild horse with no reins. But the person who leads their emotions holds the reins firmly. They slow the pace. They choose the direction. They decide the destination. They don't let every bump in the road change where they're going. Leading your emotions also means training your mind to respond instead of react. Reaction is automatic. Response is intentional. Reaction is emotional. Response is thoughtful. When you react, your emotions use you. When you respond, you use your emotions wisely. You turn anger into clarity. You turn fear into preparation. You turn frustration into fuel. That is emotional leadership. This kind of leadership builds stability. People trust you because you are not easily shaken. You become someone who is calm under pressure, steady in conflict, and focused in chaos. Not because life is easy, but because you are anchored. Your emotions may move, but your purpose does not. Your feelings may shift, but your values do not. Your mood may change, but your mission does not. You were not created to be emotionally driven. You were created to be purpose-led. Your emotions are part of you, but they are not in charge of you. When you take back the leadership of your inner world, your outer world begins to change. Your relationships get healthier. Your decisions get wiser. Your life gets clearer. Leading your emotions is not about control in a harsh sense. It is about care in a wise sense. You guide yourself with truth, patience, and direction. And when you do, you stop asking life to treat you better and start training yourself to live better with strength, clarity, and a deep sense of inner authority that allows you to walk through any season without losing yourself. That a strong mind creates a stable life, because stability is not something you find in the world. It is something you build within yourself. When your mind is weak, your life becomes fragile. Every problem feels heavier than it is. Every delay feels like defeat. Every criticism feels like an attack. But when your mind is trained, grounded, and disciplined, life stops shaking you and starts shaping you. You don't fall apart under pressure. You rise with clarity. Your mind is the control center of your destiny. It interprets what you see, decides what you believe, and directs how you act. If your thinking is confused, your life will be chaotic. If your thinking is fearful, your life will be limited. But when your thinking is strong, focused, and purposeful, your life becomes stable, intentional, and forward-moving. A strong mind does not mean you never feel pain. It means pain doesn't rule you. It doesn't get the final word. It doesn't write your story. Stability is built when your mind is trained to tell the truth, even when your emotions are loud. Your feelings might say, "You can't." Your mind must answer, "But I will learn." Your feelings might say, "You're done." Your mind must answer, "But I'm growing." Your feelings might say, "This is too much." Your mind must answer, "But I am becoming more." A strong mind speaks hope when fear tries to take over, and direction when confusion tries to sit in the driver's seat. A stable life is not a life without storms. It is a life with an anchor. And that anchor is your mindset. When your mind is strong, you don't panic in trouble. You don't collapse in conflict. You don't quit in discomfort. You adjust. You adapt. You advance. You understand that challenges are not there to break you. They are there to build you. And because your mind is trained, you don't waste your energy complaining about the wind. You adjust your sails and keep moving. A strong mind also protects your peace. You stop letting every opinion define you. You stop letting every setback discourage you. You stop letting every delay depress you. You learn how to guard your thoughts, filter your influences, and choose what you focus on. You realize that what you feed your mind is what you become. So you start feeding it truth, discipline, vision, and courage instead of doubt, drama, and distraction. This is how a stable life is created. Not by luck, not by comfort, not by avoiding problems, but by developing a mind that is steady, resilient, and committed to growth. When your mind is strong, your life becomes grounded. You walk with confidence. You decide with clarity. You live with purpose. And that is when everything begins to change, because stability is no longer something you hope for. It is something you carry within you every day. And if this message spoke to you, helped you, or challenged you, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.